She's probably mad at me that I actually had a test for you guys to do rather than her teaching. But, you know, but it is what it is. So do me a favor. Do the best you can on the 2 days of it. Figure it out. If you need more time, okay. I'm not gonna come in tomorrow saying, "Oh, Ethan, you drew a picture and there's nothing else done."
I'm gonna do some nice doodles.
Okay, yeah.
Is it like one part free response, one part multiple choice?
So what I did is you'll have multiple choice both days or free response both days.
Okay.
Is that all right? I thought that was a little bit better, so.
Wait, what is that? It's not.
So-
split up into multiple choice.
Yeah.
It's just all together. Yeah.
Now, I think I did it right, but I'm pretty sure that my multiple choice doesn't say, refer back to the last problem, and the last problem is like tomorrow. So if that happens, don't panic. I mean, you know that there's errors that are going to take place. So do the best just over the next 2 days. Just take your notes, go through it, feel comfortable about it, and then what do you say, like Monday and Tuesday next week, if you needed me to hand it back to you, cool. I'm not going to bury anybody on this test. I mean, the student who's not here, I can't teach the absent student. I'm sorry. I think I'm a relatively good teacher, but I just can't teach those who aren't here. And that's just the fact of teaching. Even though I do have recordings, and it cracks me up when it's not this class, it's all my classes. What I missed yesterday, watch a recording. Oh no, it doesn't work on my phone. Really? YouTube doesn't work on your phone? It's a pretty crappy phone you have there. It's like, so YouTube doesn't work on your phone, but you have 16 different types of social media that all seem to work, but YouTube doesn't work? Really? I call no on that one. All right. So, am I on? I have not started going over page 35 yet, right?
I think we ended right.
Okay. So let's be there. Let's take notes. And again, friends, if the person who's sitting around you is too incompetent to realize not to bring their notes back, that kind of really starts stinking for that person. So don't put it upon yourself. Don't put the sub in a silly way, going, "Oh no, I can share my notes with this person anytime." No, the person sitting next to you might be a moron if they forgot their notes. Okay? Oh, I have everything on my phone. No, the sub's not going to let you use their phone. Okay? You all have the book. If someone goes, "Oh, I haven't got my book yet,"
Dang, then you're a little dumb.
and then good. We offer this class every year. I'll see you the first or second period next semester. I mean, I am a very flexible and warm-hearted person, but there's just things that I just kind of chuckle at, like, really? All right, so we are on page 35. Agreed? The one mean test. Okay, so the one mean test on page 35 says the following is a breakdown of every hypothesis test. So identify the test that's needed. So number one on that, you don't necessarily, we won't ask this. We won't ask the number one. We're not going to say, "Hey, do you use the z-test?" It'll probably say in the problem, this is a z-test or a t-test. Okay, so you don't have to necessarily worry about that. State the null and the height alternative. Okay, we've done that. Create a sampling distribution. Okay, so this is your normal curve. Okay, so remember your normal curve is going to have, a mean and then either standard deviation or standard error that's put in there. So where you add to the mean. Calculate p-value. Normal CDF, right? And I'll have calculators here tomorrow. I have said that it is okay to borrow the calculators that I'll have in here, and it is okay if you need to hand them back and forth between people. Okay? She does know that. Conclusion. And then the assumptions, we're not too worried about this either. Not worried about the assumptions. Okay, yeah.
For number two,
Two.
wouldn't we state the actual null, or would just go HLHA?
Yeah, this is the null. This is the alternative. Yeah, that's all you have to put. You know,
All we have to run.
well, I mean, you have to say x is equal to, x is greater than, x is less than, things like that, or mu if you want to. Huh?
What if you just wrote that on a set? What would you give it?
A smiley face.
It's a
Which is worse than-
and it's full credit.
Can you just go over really quick, like when to use Z-test versus T-test?
When it says in the directions, use a z-test.
Oh, okay, it'll tell you. You don't have to figure it
I'm
out.
pretty sure it'll tell you. If it doesn't tell you and you're not able to figure it out,
Full credit.
then I guess we will wait till Monday or Tuesday to figure it out.
Okay,
Deal?
yeah.
Again, I'm no way, shape, or form. Like, almost everyone in here is holding on a pretty good grade. I'm not going to take your 85% and because I was gone for 2 days and all of a sudden it drops to a 76 and you're like, stroke used to be cool. I'm not going to do that. I mean, you know I won't do that. I'm just pleading with you. Please try and attempt it. I will tell you, one of the least fun things, especially, well, I don't think being I know being a sub is the least fun thing to do anyhow, but one of the least fun things, even as a teacher, is hand out the test, everyone starts it, and you have the kid coming up, I don't know how to do it. So you just hand it in blank, yeah, I don't know how to do it. You're here. There's not one part of this that you don't get any of it. Wow. You know, my 7th period is belly aching at me because you don't answer all of our questions during the test. No, that's why we're doing the review, so you can ask questions now. Yeah, but you have different numbers in there and stuff. Yeah, I wanted to square. We went over square root of 4. You know, that's 2. And I gave you square root of 9. I know, but it's a different number. Okay. You know how to get perfect squares? I don't get it. 1 times 1 is what? It's 1. 2 times 2 is 6. You don't have even basic skills of multiplication together.
No, it's 8.
No, there was COVID. Well, you learned basic skills of multiplication in 3rd or 4th grade, so COVID didn't happen. So you obviously didn't take the efforts of the teacher saying, your kid really is struggling with multiplication. Yeah.
I was wondering if you could just list on the 6 steps, just like.
They're right there on page 35.
Oh.
So don't worry about 1 and don't worry about 6. They're not majorly important. So if it does ask for the 6 steps, know that I am just looking for 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? And it's right there on page 35. All right. Random sampling. Okay? I'm still on page 35. Random sampling. The sample collected in such a way that each person in the population had a fair chance to be part of the sample. Okay? You should see terminology in information that says this is a random sample or a random stratified sample is something that they might say, you know, in other classes. Random sample is important, saying, you know, we found 10 people and they said this. That's not a random sample. Okay? You have to know that there's some sort of randomness. Independence. Are the observations influencing each other in some way? What sample was collected in such a way that doesn't change the likelihood that the next result? Did we sample less than 10% of the population that we are studying? So if we are going to study a random sample of Cherry Creek High School, Mr. Pavic, what you got?
This is what I'm handing out tonight. This is from it was in the calendar. I printed it out. It's not a video, so I just printed it out. I'm handing it to them.
You're actually handing it to kids, huh?
For them to potentially journey it.
There is a lot of reading here, pal.
Well,
But thank you.
they read at the high school level. So.
Okay, good. Well, that's true. What about me? I'm still at the 3rd grade, 4th month. Okay. So independence, 10% of the population. If we sampled 5 people at Cherry Creek High School, we are less than 10% of the population. Agree? Well, I don't know how people go here. There's more than 500. How do you know that? I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm in my Algebra 1 mode.
Did you warn your son about them strip?
Oh, I put the fear of God in those kids. Oh, yeah.
I like
Algebra
the
1.
seating chart for every class for ours.
Oh, that's for their phones.
Oh, love it.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's
So,
good. We're
so if when I
smart.
look up here and I don't see number 1, I'll be like, hey, Trevor, where's your phone? Oh, I don't have it. Really?
Liar.
It's like, if you forgot your shoes at school, I get it. Your phone? Mm-mm. So,
I legitimately,
you have?
I legitimately almost did forget my shoes this morning. Like I walked out to open the garage and I was like, wait, my shoes are gone.
3 days.
All right.
3 days.
Normality is the size sufficiency large enough that the condition of the central limit theorem are met. If not, our sampling distribution may not be normal, and our p-value will be incorrect. For one sample z-test, our sample size must be at least 30. So normality, you want that 30. We keep talking about this n value. Is it greater than or equal to 30? This deals with the normality. Okay? Normality. Okay? That's something to know. I bet you it's going to show up. On page 36, it talks about the two-tailed test. Please realize we went over the two-tailed test a lot, not because it's important, but I was trying to point out that it is such a poor thing to do. Okay? So if you come across a two-tailed situation on the test, now if it's under multiple choice, do your best. Okay? Try and make an educated guess on it. But if you go out to the test and it says, hey, we have a two-tailed test, justify to me saying, hey, two-tailed tests, you said, are a really bad thing to do for sampling. Because they are. Okay? And that's really what I want you to know on that. Okay? Yes, it does say the probability of obtaining a result at least as unlikely as we obtained in random chance. Two-tailed alternative hypothesis, that just means that you have your null equal to something and your alternative is not equal, but it's not a really good thing to do. So keep that in mind when you're doing it. On page 36, we did walk through one of those problems for the most part. It's not the prettiest thing to do because it's vague. When you say, hey, my null is this, it's equal to this, and then everything else is not the null. Really? You can't choose a direction? You're spending all this money on statistical surveys and you can't determine one direction versus the other? Oh, nope. It's too hard. Now, we know that we skipped 6-10, so page 38, it's not there. Though, I would not say take it out of your book. Keep it there because there might be information there that we might know. Like having the standard error being the standard deviation over root n, and that talks about the population's deviation. Okay, so there might be information on that page, but we didn't really go over t-tests for means. Okay, that kind of went through on page 39. It went with the t-distribution as well, but we weren't too worried about it. But if you do look on page 39, it does talk about the TCDF. So you remember the TCDF is on the calculator in the same location. Do you have to use it? We've brushed upon it for about 18 seconds, 4 weeks before break. I'm just kidding. It's probably after break. Page 40, the one mean t-test says hypothesis test required using means. We use normal distribution to calculate the p-value when we know the population standard deviation in real life. So this is kind of the big one. This is coming off of page 40. Okay, when we have the population standard deviation, and I bet you this is a really good multiple choice scenario. So make note with this. Okay, if we have a population standard deviation, one thing that sticks out saying that's going to take place is the t-test. And that's the TCDF, where you have the z-score, and I'll talk about that as well, z-score, and then infinity if you're going to the right, and then your degrees of freedom. Okay? So does everyone feel you could find TCDF on the calculator? Probably some of you, probably some others might get to Monday going, I don't know how to find TCDF. Let's talk about it. Oh, you mean you're not going to grade my entire test by the time you get back here on Monday? No. This is like our last major test. I mean, we don't even have a final in this class, so sorry to upset you.
One of my teachers just wants.
Actually, we'll have a final, but trust me, you'll do fine.
Is it gonna be show up?
Be like, okay, flip a coin. If you get 3 heads in a row, you get an A. If you get 2 heads out of 3, you get a B. If you get 1 head, you get a C. If you get...
oh my gosh.
That's a tail.
It's like, I can do this. You get the kid who's only shown up once all year. He comes in, throws 3 heads in a row. Done. Oh, man. All right. So we calculate the p-values and the t-distribution when the population standard deviation is unknown. So if we don't know the population standard deviation, we use the t-test because the sample standard deviation is an estimator of the population of the standard deviation. Okay. So TCDF, find it on the calculator. Z-score. So it is the mean over, or mean over standard deviation. The mean versus the observed score. Okay. I would say look for your Z-score. It's in your book. Okay. What is infinity? A big number. Okay. Usually your calculator is going to have the infinity in there already. If it doesn't have infinity in there, make it a big number. How big? 255 trillion. Sound big enough?
Mean minus observed what?
Over this population.
What is the observed? Like what is the observed?
You would be able to, let's see. That would be, I'm looking on our thing. I need to go to the p-value. Otherwise, process 1 mean test. Hang on, let's go normality. Assumptions look different. Surprise to t-distribution. So 1 mean normality, skewed, blah, blah, great. Statistic null sample.
Like minus observed.
Oh, if you go to like on page 41.
That's an example problem
That's correct.
that I didn't do. So.
Okay, so let's look at page 41 and do it.
I'm just asking, is the observed, is it like the observed like sample size?
Yeah. All right. So let's walk through, and I think it's going to answer our question. The average price of gas in Colorado is greater than $2.50 per gallon. Duh. Random sample 20 gas stations shows an average of $2.54 with standard deviation of 30 cents. We want to know where those 20 gas stations are now, right? All right. So we're not worried about the first step, but the second step is our null is equal to 250. Our alternative is mu is greater than $2.50. Of course, this was done years ago, so we didn't do anything wrong. All right, our third step to that is our normal distribution. So we have 250 here. And then we have to do our standard error, which is 0.30. So that's our standard deviation over square root of 20 stations, number of stations, number and sample. And if we do that, it comes out to approximately 0.07. So then you have 2.57, 2.64, and 2.71. And then if you go this way, subtract it, so 243, 236, 236, and then 229. And then they tell us they said that we had this average that we found as $2.54. So 254 falls here, and we're shading this way because we wanted that to be greater than. Okay? Good so far?
Yeah.
All right. Wait, what? Number 4 says we need to do our TCDF. So this is our z-score, infinity, and then our degrees of freedom. Okay, so let's get the z-score. Z-score is going to be this, from up above, 254. Okay, so that was our average, minus the 250 here over our 0.07. Okay, so that's going to go under TCDF. Now, I would recommend you find what that fractional amount is. Don't go and try and plug that in. Then infinity or huge number. And then degrees of freedom, we had 20 minus 1 because our sample was 20. So 20 minus 1 is 19. So if we do that, this is going to now give us a p-value, if we plug it all in correctly, of 0.278. So since p was greater than 0.05, remember our 0.05 is important, we fail, extend page, fail to reject, to write, to reject. I know that my writing is so fast and fantastic, but my computer can't keep up. Fail to reject the null. We don't have strong evidence. Strong evidence. Evidence that average in Colorado is greater than 250. Okay, that has to do with the p-score. We got the p-score of this. This is what we wanted us to be greater than. We are greater than that. Normally, you want to keep that p-value less than. So that's going to take place. Random sampling, independence, normality, not worried about it. So that's basically page 41. So, my friends, we're just about out of here. Please be good for the sub. Don't panic. Do the best you can on what you have. Bring your notes. Don't be like, someone else will bring notes for me. No, this is your responsibility. Okay? Use your notes. Got it?